10. A lesson in making decisions. I had an experience in Belgium that taught me a great lesson. My connections with Antwerp began in 1984, when unexpected offer to take over a company's refinery in the city. I first had the director of the Daewoo London branch investigate the company through London financial markets. I also sent a manager who was an expert on the international oil market to investigate the company in Antwerp. From the reports of our people, I learned that the company had had considerable labor disputes and was running in the red. The president of the company had already made offers to renowned Japanese, German, and American companies to take it over, all had refused. I concluded that the company was not in very good financial shape. I asked for the opinion of our manager who went to inspect the company. He said that although the facilities were quite old, the plant, with a little renovation, would be operable. He found that the workers felt that the company president had little interest in the plant, and that the rest of the managerial staff had a greater interest in closing down than in trying to save the company. So the final decision rested with me, and I made it based upon the results of an accurate survey of two facets of operations. First, the facilities were old, but still capable of producing 65,000 barrels of oil a day. The price of $1.5 million for the entire plant was much lower than the cost of building a new facility. The second consideration was the workforce. I diagnosed its low morale as a direct result of the president's indifference and the staff's negligence. I decided that the project was possible if we dispatched superior managerial power to bring about a complete change in attitude. I felt that the workforce, tired of an old, indifferent administration with which it had struggled for years, would have a change of heart with a fresh, new administration. A third problem was oil, and this is where I had the greatest confidence. I already had a promise from the government of Libya for a certain volume of crude oil. When Libya started having foreign exchange problems, we had worked out a barter agreement for crude in exchange for a huge apartment construction project. Owning a refinery could be a wise investment for us, since there is greater profit in refined oil than in crude. Of course, there was always the chance that the consumer market for gasoline, kerosene, and other refined oil would not be so great. If there was not great demand, we could first sell some crude and then sell refined oil when the market recovered. Based on these considerations, I gave directives to go ahead with the takeover immediately. The following year, once the takeover was finalized, we selected and dispatched a crack team of administrators to Antwerp. We changed the name to Universal to be consistent with Daewoo, which means Great Universe. Everything was done to create an entirely new atmosphere at the company. In less than a year, the results of our efforts were not only obvious, but dramatic. The workforce had new strength and energy to cooperate with management. And I think they learned a thing or two from the example set by Daewoo personnel. Within a year, the company had turned around and made a profit. After that, sales went so well that we got an offer from the former president to buy back the company at 5 times the price we had paid for it. As a result of this success, I developed something of an international reputation as a turnaround expert. But the reason I treasure the Antwerp project is not the fame I got from it or the profit. I treasure it because of the lesson it provided me in the importance of decision-making. Renowned firms in the United States, Japan, Germany, and England were all approached with the proposal, and they investigated the possibilities. But they all turned it down based on superficialities. Perhaps they quickly dropped consideration after surveying the financial status of the company. In any case, they made rather awkward assessments and thereby lost the chance to make quite a bit of money. I had a similar experience in Korea with the Korea Machinery Company. The company was first formed during the Japanese occupation to build Japanese submarines. When we took over the company, it had not made a profit in its 40-odd years of existence and was in very bad shape. Before coming to us, the government had approached 2 other large Korean conglomerates. Both conducted a number of extensive surveys. Based on the results of the surveys and future prospects of the company, they both turned the offer down. Then the offer came to me, and I conducted the exact same surveys, and based on the same results, I decided to take over the company. We changed the name to Daewoo Heavy Industries Limited, and it is now a leader in the Korean machinery industry. When doing business, you run into a lot of decision-making situations. Sometimes these decisions are minor, and sometimes they can affect the entire fortune of a company. But no matter what the issue, it is up to the executive to make the final decision. Over the years, I have worked with innumerable colleagues, but my loneliest moments are when I have to make a decision. My colleagues and staff, of course, provide me with all kinds of information and help. But because of the responsibilities involved, they cannot make the final decision for me. Just as I cannot make others responsible for myself, I cannot make them responsible for my decisions. Decision-making is important not only in business, it is important throughout life. Terminanan ang natsundipan. Life is a series of decisions, and one wrong decision can ruin a life. I sometimes wonder whether we are living just to be able to have the chance to make the one right decision that will lead to success.